Good. Okay, so for the next meditation, it's really important when we do the, the disadvantage of self-cherishing, because it is so clear. It is so, how it creates all the suffering and how we have no control over it and all this. So it's really important that you don't feel bad about it, having it. We all have it, and this is why we suffer. So an appropriate response would be compassion and not aversion and anger and all this. But don't forget, compassion, as we said yesterday, it doesn't mean you let everybody do what they want to do. Like with compassion for your children, if they're not doing what you want them to do, then you have to be very stern. But sometimes also this doesn't help with the children, You can be very stern, it doesn't help. You can be very kind and very soft, it doesn't help. Because we all have to find kind of our own way, isn't it? So I think it's really good when we start the meditation, looking at our own self-cherishing, maybe first look at the self-cherishing of somebody else, and then to really understand, that it does create suffering, and then maybe we understand better our own. And I can't remember which Lama it was. Maybe it was Geshe Topten. That somebody, it's a person who, she really hated herself. It's a person who compulsively would like pull out her hair and her eyebrows, and she would kind of faint most of the time, and she was really, really tormented. So when he was teaching about self-cherishing, she said, but how can I get rid of the self-cherishing without destroying myself? And so he said, no, this is a total misunderstanding. You should, eliminate your self-cherishing with a lot of compassion for that person in whose mind the self-cherishing is kind of residing and sitting. So we need to make the clear distinction that self-cherishing is not all of us, nor is our anger or attachment. It is just, it comes from the wrong view of holding myself as the middle of the universe, right? Or the most important person in the universe. And the self-cherishing, we see that it can expand naturally when we have children or grandchildren. Then this self-cherishing kind of covers them as well, but then pretty much finished, or our friends or whatever. But I think it's more this biological thing where it is the strongest. Me, when you are alone and no children, and then the others. And then when there's children, also it can expand to the children and then to the grandchildren. And it shows us we can expand that ego or that I or that me or that self. So that it's not just one person in there. But again, as Tomer was saying, when we're stressed, there's only one person who is important. Everybody else is, we become so tight and so small that we can't feel the other people anymore. I think I already asked you this question because I heard that somewhere, and I found I thought it was so nice and so true, because somebody asked one person, do you know why people, when they're angry, why they start talking much louder? And so the answer was, because their hearts have become very far apart. Nice, isn't it? Like when we're angry, we start shouting. Why are we shouting? The person is still there. We don't need to shout. But because it's our hearts have separated, are very far away from each other. I thought that was very beautiful. And to think that, when we are angry, to go like, hey, why am I shouting? The other person is still here. Right? Okay, so we start again thinking about the Buddha, about our gurus who are living, this whole thing, especially when you see the older gurus who have been in Tibet when it was invaded by the Chinese. Now, of course, the first thought that comes up is, well, why didn't they fight? Why didn't they defend themselves? Well, against the Chinese army, difficult. His Holiness very often, he says, I'm so happy that a few of them tried to put up some resistance. There were some English people there also who tried to help them, or maybe some Americans or both, I don't remember. He said, but I'm so glad that they didn't succeed, because a lot of people would have died for nothing. Yeah, there's no way you can win against the Chinese. So this is views. These are the views of nonviolence. And also he says, okay, this whole thing about nonviolence, it didn't bring my country back. That is true. But also violence would have probably not brought it back. But the nonviolence didn't destroy my peace of mind and my compassion for the Chinese. So if we find this inspiring, then we can take these people as an example. We invoke their presence. They're always here with us. And we feel protected and guided. By thinking if they can do it, okay, hard work. But if they can do it, I can also do it. And to start to believe that it's only through love, compassion, and wisdom the world will become a happy place. With intelligence of knowing how to get what I want, it's not going to happen. Again, don't think about the big situation, the political situation in Israel. This goes for, something that we have direct influence over. You don't have a direct influence about what Israel is doing, how they kind of conduct their political affairs. We can vote, that's about it. We can say what we don't like, we can go demonstrate peacefully, that's very good. But we don't have direct influence. But we have a direct influence with neighbors, with people we meet in the street, people in the shops. We think about these beings that inspire us, that we feel safe with, feel our heart opening, we connect with that, and then we just say to ourselves without ifs and buts and without having to prove it, I am a good person. Just that. But just watch what's happening. Don't fight it. Don't argue with yourself. Right now, this moment, I am a good person. I'm not harming. There's no, sorry, no, I just did it. No need for because. Then very often the heart opens and we feel that goodness. Don't force anything, allow it to happen. I am a good person, and then you try to hold this feeling so that, the neurons can fire first, sorry, and then they will wire with it. And they will weaken the connections of these like negative wiring. I am a good person. Not better than others. No need others for this to compare. I am a good person. Okay, so before we start to reflect on the disadvantage of self-cherishing, it's really good to remember also ultimate bodhicitta. Thinking about emptiness. Thinking that nothing exists from its own side. Not even the self-cherishing. The causes for the self-cherishing is a wrong view that we have that there is an I or a self or a me that exists from its own side, not being dependent on body and mind, being independent, autonomous, permanent, unitary, only one. And that one we feel very, very strong. And that is what is called when things are not going the way we want them to go and when negative emotions are present. So that's why this one lies at the root. We get attached, we desire something, or we get attached to it because I want. We don't even look, is it good for all beings that I get this thing? No, I want. Then when I don't get it, I get angry. I did not get. We don't even, think it. Will it be good for all beings if I get this thing? Or will it be beneficial for others if I don't get it? Do I really need it? It's these very almost instinctive acting very strongly when self-cherishing is there. And as Einstein would say, a human being is a part of what we call the universe. But then because of some optical mental delusion, he sees himself as separate from the rest. This is what the self-cherishing is doing. There's no more connection. We can't feel others anymore, and we don't care what it does to them as long as I have what I want. We can also be different. You see, if it would be really inherently existing, we would be like that all the time. Sometimes it arises, we create actions, creates negative karma. When that karma ripens, when it becomes a karmic result, we don't like the result. Whom do we blame? We blame others. Instead of blaming the one that sits inside of us and who says, oh, I don't like this. Why did this happen to me? Then you can go, aha. It was you, that attitude called self-cherishing, that pushed me to do this action. You can kind of negotiate with your self-cherishing. Maybe it's good for you or for us also just to reflect. Do you happen to talk to yourself? And it is as if you'd be talking to somebody else, like there's two I's, there's two me's. So which one do you identify? With the wise one who says to the other one, gosh, you're so stupid. You did it again. And we have to be kind to ourselves so that the self-cherishing doesn't have to behave like a spoiled child who creates a lot of havoc just in order to be seen. We have to listen to ourselves. What is lacking? What do I need? Or, self-cherishing, always complaining. Well, I'm not happy because nobody loves me. I don't have the job I want. I'm overworked. I'm bored. I have no qualities. I have too many qualities. Everybody wants something from me. So then it's good to challenge it. Maybe challenge it now. As if you would be talking to another person. You go like, okay, now I'm here. I'm listening. What is wrong? What do you want? And just listen. And don't manipulate anything. Don't go up in your head. Don't take Dharma answers here. Just listen. What is lacking? What is missing? And all the arguments that come because I don't like my job, my colleagues, my partner left me, my children don't like me, whatever. Challenge it and ask if that's really true. Is that what the Buddha says? This is why you are not happy. And the Buddha rather say, well, if we do actions out of self-cherishing, when we're just concerned with the need and the happiness of ourselves, we might get some short-term happiness. Nobody is denying. But in long run, create karmic imprints that we will not get. And it creates suffering. Whereas we act with a mind when we're really concerned about others, without wanting anything back, that creates causes for happiness and well-being. We trust. Self-cherishing has no long-term vision, does not think about consequences. You know, it's the one that prevents you from getting out of bed in the morning and says, oh, only 5 minutes more. You slept maybe 5, 6, or even 7 hours. And you think these 5 minutes are going to make a difference. We follow it, we stay in bed. Then we're stressed because we're late. And the happiness that was promised did not appear of these 5 minutes longer. It's just an example for what the self-cherishing does to us the whole day. Always complaining, always wanting something. And it happens in a very unconscious way. If we would listen to it, we would be able to say at one point, hey, you know, just shut up. Every time I follow what you want, and where is the happiness that you just promised? Very short-lived. And sometimes not even just a moment of happiness. Sometimes there is. Do you remember? Maybe when we were at school and self-cherishing was saying like, oh, when school is finished, then I'll be really happy. Try to remember these thoughts. Go there. It's really funny, isn't it? We were convinced that this is true. I can eat all the chocolate I want. I can watch all the programs on TV. There are people my age. We still used to watch TV. Do you remember? And then mom and dad said, no, 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 no. Now you go to bed. Wow, when I'm grown up, I can watch the whole day. then I'll be happy. It wasn't that. It wasn't about watching TV. It was about then school is finished. I become a grown-up, independent person. Well, where is that happiness now? That lasting happiness. Of course, we have other moments of happiness that we didn't have as children. The self-cherishing promises lasting happiness. Or, we blame others for our unhappiness and we go like, oh, when the situation changes, I will be happy. Wow, how many times have we thought that? You have no partner and you think, oh, if only I had a partner, I'll be happy. Then you get one. And after a while, maybe, moments of thinking, oh, if only I didn't have a partner, I would be happy. But people who are divorced, maybe think like, remember the happiness that was promised to live together with this person? Where did children, people without children, oh, I'm not happy because I have no children or no grandchildren. Just your own self-cherishing, creating these stories, not being able to appreciate what we have, always looking for happiness in an other situation than just here and now. Listen, what does the self-cherishing say right now? Probably thinking about lunch or thinking, well, if that meditation is finished, then I'd be really happy. Yeah, it could well be. But challenge it and look, is that true? You might be happier, but lastingly happy? So due to our self-cherishing mind, we develop a strong desire to secure our own welfare. And it feels normal, it feels natural, but it's just an attitude. Habits can be changed. The same way as when you don't have children, your own happiness comes first. When you have children, the happiness of the children comes first. Very natural. In order to secure our own welfare, sometimes we have to engage in negativities and unwholesome actions, which in return cause all the unwanted insecurity, frustrations, and other suffering. We have high values, isn't it? Patience, generosity, being connected to others, being helpful, being meaningful to others. Very often the self-cherishing kind of prevents us from living these high values because we're afraid. It says, oh, they might exploit you. They might not like you. That's another one where self-cherishing is present. You go to a group that you're not familiar with, party or even a Dharma group. Will they like me? Who cares? As long as you like yourself, you don't need others to like you. It's good for them if they like you. That's true. But this fear, what will they think of me? In the morning in the mirror, we see some kind of something on the face. It can be there the whole day, the whole day we think about this, like a pimple on the face. See it. Other people might not even see it, or they see it, but they don't care. But for the self-cherishing, oh, what will they think of me? Will they love me? what we can think when we go to a group. Will I be able to do something for them? We should worry, will I accept and love them? Then it will be easy for others to love us. That shouldn't be the reason, again, you know. You see, it's the self-cherishing who creates friends, enemies, and strangers. The meditation with them. They're good for me, they're my friends. They're not good for me, they're my enemies. And it can change, you know. In 1 hour, somebody is a friend, becomes an enemy, then we like them again, and this and that. It's usually the self-cherishing, what can I do for me? Love and compassion would ask, what can I do for them? So you see, we have no guarantee that other people will do something for us, but we have a choice if I want to do something for them or not. If you look at the criminals in prison, why are they in prison? Because they couldn't resist their self-cherishing mind, and they were so overwhelmed by either wanting something or having to get rid of something that they didn't think about the consequences. Self-cherishing cannot think long term. Why do we feel hurt if someone speaks harshly to us? It's just words. And when we look, you know, somebody says, you're so stupid. Where do you feel the hurt? In your body, isn't it? Not in your brain. I mean, brain is also body. But kind of when we look, you know, it's the middle of the heart. There we can feel the self-cherishing. How dare they say that? Instead of, you know, with intelligence, just saying, okay, that's her view. And it might be true. I mean, I'm not the only one who's stupid in this world. Why should I not be stupid? It's okay. And anyway, what does it mean to be intelligent? Here we talk about emotional intelligence, knowing what will be good for all beings, not just for me. We can calm the self-cherishing down with logic very, very quickly if we use it. Because it is stupid. It only sees short term. And it sees very, very narrow. Only me, I. If we wouldn't think that we're so bloody important, words of criticism, blame, and mockery would not hurt us. It's just words. So again, you know, try to think of a moment where somebody insulted you. And try to see this as just a movie. As Mingyur Rinpoche says, you know, our so-called reality appears like real, but it's not true. So think, if this would have been a movie, if you would have had a choice to react to this insult, how would you have reacted? most of our unhappy moments come from this wrong view of cherishing ourselves, holding ourselves the most important. When we make some profit or when we gain something, we're happy. Not even taking into consideration if I gain something, somebody else will lose something. It's not important. Main thing that I'm not the friar. This whole friar syndrome thing. What is behind it is self-cherishing. So again, don't feel bad about yourself because we all suffer from this. We should generate compassion. And when we see the moments when we feel lonely or unhappy, or bad about ourselves, it is because of actions maybe we've done out of self-cherishing, and then we feel bad about it. When the self-cherishing is gone, when we start to see more free. So we will enter meditation because it's quite an unpleasant. Actually, quite a drastic example also. That we see when there is love, there is no self-cherishing, and people will not get so hurt as when there is self-cherishing. And a very good example is our parents. So just think, again, try to take your parents that have been kind to you. I know there are parents who are so confused and are suffering so much that they have no open heart for their children. And instead of trying to make them happy, they actually make them suffer. But again, they have no choice. So maybe just think about a grandmother or a neighbor, if in case you have parents like this. And try to see their suffering from the self-cherishing. But in general, parents are quite kind. So just think. If our friends or people that we call friends, if they would treat us the way we treat our parents sometimes, I only think about my happiness. If our friends would do that to us, we would surely not want them as friends anymore. We would drop them. Now we see our parents never drop us, no matter how we treat them, because there's love. And they're concerned about our happiness, not just about theirs. Of course, it's also mixed, but in general, parents never drop their children. In general, okay? When we see the disadvantage of self-cherishing, that it creates all the suffering, slowly, the thought comes up, okay, what can I do? And especially, what can I do? Instead of just wanting. And then again, you can take that into your lunch break. When you cook, put it in your plate, eat it. We will do the meditation on it after lunch. Already now, you can just think, just say thank you. Somebody has produced that food for you. Keeps me alive. Thank you very much. And then before you eat it, out of gratitude, we kind of visualize offering it to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So it's a very nice practice. And we think that we offer it on behalf of all other sentient beings who don't know how to offer. So they get the merit. see how the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are receiving the food. They're sending back light rays, touching us and each other sentient being. And we think through doing this practice and through offering this food, in short terms, may the fact that we have to eat not destroy the planet. Through the fact that we have to eat, may nobody suffer. May beings not get killed. May nobody has to steal or create other negativities in order to get food that we need to survive. Virtue of the very merit of offering this food to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, may everybody have free access to nourishment. Short terms, by the merit of offering this food, may it not create allergies or addictions. May we see it as medicine for the body to keep us alive. May we eat it without attachment and without aversion. And may we enjoy it. Okay. So when you argue with your self-cherishing, you need a lot of humor. And it's like with children, you know, like the more you kind of debate with them, the more clever they become in debating. So then see this a little bit as a challenge. But you need to have humor, and especially never forgetting this is not your nature. This is just something that is on top, but we have to make it go away, because otherwise we just continue circling in samsara. And so the next meditation, you know, thinking about the kindness of others, this really helps the self-cherishing to calm down and to go, oh, okay, I understand. I leave you alone for 3 seconds now. Okay, so please enjoy your food, and I'll see you again. I'll see you again at 2 o'clock your time, right? Yeah. Okay.